We all know Google Ads, right? I mean, it feels like this huge global force in online advertising, basically everywhere online.
It really is. But, when you look specifically at South Korea, the whole digital advertising picture, it looks quite different. It's an interesting case.
Yeah, it really is.
Because while Google's obviously a major player globally in South Korea, Naver Ads really steps into the spotlight. It's the leader there for search for display ads.
And it works differently too, right? That's what's key.
Exactly. It operates with a, let's say, distinct approach compared to what most advertisers might know from Google. And it's not just market share. Naver is kind of this all-in-one digital hub for Koreans, fostering real user loyalty. It's central to their online life in a way that maybe differs from how Google started, mainly as search.
Right. And that's really the heart of what we want to unpack today in this deep dive. Our mission, if you will, is to explore 5 key distinctions, the big differences between Google Ads and Naver Ads. And this is, well, pretty essential stuff if you're trying to connect with South Korean consumers online.
Absolutely. Understanding these nuances isn't just about picking a platform. It's really about strategically navigating that whole Korean digital world to make your campaigns actually work.
Okay, so let's get into our first key difference. This one kind of sets the stage. Market share and user behavior. Globally, Google search, unbeatable. But South Korea.
Yeah, different story. In South Korea, Naver's #1. Top search engine, both on desktop and mobile.
Wow, okay.
And it's not a small difference. It fundamentally changes where Korean consumers even start their online journey. Because Naver's become so, well, baked into daily online life for so many Koreans, it's just the natural place to begin looking for things.
It's more than just a search box, though, isn't it? We saw that Koreans often use Naver not just for keywords, but like digging into blog reviews, checking out shopping channels, consuming curated content. It's their go-to portal.
Precisely. Naver acts as this multi-tool online portal for a lot of Koreans. They use it for search, yes, but also for community stuff like Naver Cafe, and increasingly for buying things through Naver Shopping and their smart store setup. That stickiness, staying within the Naver world, that's critical to understanding how Koreans behave online.
So the big takeaway here then is if you only use Google Ads, you're just missing a huge chunk of the Korean online audience, especially, it seems, older users and maybe higher income groups who are really active on Naver.
That's exactly it. Ignoring Naver means you're potentially missing out on connecting with a massive and very engaged part of the Korean internet population.
You're overlooking a huge opportunity, basically.
A really substantial one, yeah. To reach a broad range of Korean users right where they're spending their time online.
All right, let's shift gears to the second key difference. Ad placements and the whole ecosystem around them. With Google Ads, we know the drill. Search ads, display ads on GDN, YouTube apps. What's the Naver equivalent?
Naver Ads has a much more, let's say, tightly integrated ecosystem. Think of it like a whole suite of ad options that are woven right into the Naver platform itself.
Okay.
So you've got their search ads, they call them Powerlink ads. Similar idea to Google search ads, but very much embedded in Naver's results.
And we also saw things like the shopping box mentioned. What's that?
The shopping box. That's basically their product feed advertising showing up prominently in Naver's shopping search results. Very visual.
Okay.
Then there are brand search ads. These let brands really dominate the search results page for their own name. With lots of visuals and info, they seem quite effective in Korea, maybe because there's such an emphasis on brand trust and how things look.
And it keeps going. There's also Naver GFA.
Correct. Naver GFA is their display network. Think banner ads across Naver's various properties. But what's really interesting, I think, is the content integration. You can get ads smoothly placed within Naver blog posts or linked through their Smart Store e-commerce platform.
So putting it all together, what does this mean for someone advertising on Naver? It sounds like the ads feel maybe more native, more part of the experience.
Exactly. Naver Ads gives you more chances for these in-content placements that just feel more natural to someone using Naver. They're often designed to blend in better with how Koreans normally browse and find information there.
Which could make the ads less jarring, maybe.
Potentially, yes.
Hmm.
This tighter integration could lead to a smoother, less disruptive, and possibly more effective advertising experience for the user.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, let's talk practicalities now. The user interface, setting things up, just general usability. That's our third key difference. Most of us know Google Ads, pretty standard, generally intuitive, tons of help docs online. What's it like logging into Naver Ads?
Right. This is where things can feel noticeably different, especially if you're not based in South Korea. The Now Ads interface is very localized. The main language is Korean.
Ah.
While Google aims for that global consistency, Naver's focus is, well, squarely on its home market.
So just navigating it could be tough if you don't speak Korean.
That's a pretty big hurdle, yeah. The terms used, the way the platform is laid out,
Hmm.
it's all built for Korean speakers. And what's more, setting up an account often means you need a Korean business registration number.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Or you have to work directly with a local Korean ad agency.
Yeah.
It's definitely not as simple as just creating a Google Ads account from anywhere.
Right, okay. So there's a real practical barrier there for international companies wanting to advertise. It sounds like getting Naver ads up and running means a steeper learning curve, and you probably need some local help or expertise.
Precisely. Unless you're fluent in Korean or you already have local partners lined up, managing Now campaigns effectively can be, well, quite a bit more complex. That's a really crucial point for anyone seriously thinking about the South Korean market.
Definitely a logistical thing to figure out. Okay, let's dive into number 4, audience targeting options. Google Ads, as we know, is famous for its really robust targeting using signals from search history, YouTube, websites visited, the whole 9 yards. How does Naver handle targeting?
Naver Ads definitely has keyword targeting and some behavioral targeting too, so you can reach users based on what they search for or how they've interacted within Naver before.
Okay.
But it seems to lean more heavily on contextual targeting.
Contextual, meaning like showing ads based on the specific page or content someone is looking at right now.
Exactly that. Contextual targeting on Naver really focuses on understanding what the user is doing right now, specifically within the Naver ecosystem. Their searches, the stuff they read on Naver blog or Naver Cafe, how they interact with Naver shopping or smart stores.
Can you give an example?
Sure, like if someone's reading a blog post on Naver about, say, hiking boots, they might see an ad for a local outdoor gear store right there.
Yeah.
The ad's shown because of the context hiking boot content they're already engaged with.
Got it. So while Google might be looking at your broader activity across tons of different sites and apps, Naver's strength is more about what you're doing inside its own walled garden, so to speak.
That's a good way to put it. Naver excels at understanding that immediate user intent based on their current activity on Naver. It's great at connecting with users in that moment based on what they're actively looking for or reading right there. Less about tracking you everywhere, more about understanding you here.
That's a really fascinating difference. It makes it sound like Naver's targeting could be especially good at catching people who are really actively considering a purchase, like right now, within that Korean context.
That's a key insight, definitely. If a user is actively searching or reading about a specific need on Naver, an ad hitting that immediate interest right then and there is likely to be very effective.
All right, let's tackle our 5th and final key difference. This is always a big one for advertisers: cost, competition, and crucially, conversion. We've heard whispers that Naver ads can sometimes cost more per click in certain niches. Is that true?
Well, in some really competitive areas within the Korean market, yeah, you might see higher cost per click, or CPCs, on Naver compared to Google.
And why is that?
It often comes down to more local advertisers, all bidding intensely for those prime spots on Naver. It's the main game in town for many Korean businesses, so competition can be fierce.
But that higher initial cost, it doesn't paint the whole picture, does it? We also saw suggestions that conversion rates on Naver can actually be higher. What's behind that?
Ah, yes, that's the critical other side of the coin. Those potentially higher conversion rates often come from the huge amount of trust Korean users have in Naver. It's such a central, familiar part of their online world.
Right.
So ads seen within that trusted space, that deeply integrated environment, they can often carry more weight, more credibility. Some sources suggest this trust factor, combined with this seamless integration, can lead to genuinely better conversion rates for campaigns that feel local and relevant.
So, okay, even if you pay a bit more for that click on Naver initially, that click might be more valuable, more likely to turn into a customer.
Precisely. The key insight really is that while the upfront CPC on Naver might sometimes be higher, the overall return on ad spend, the ROAS, could actually end up being better than Google's
Right.
if you're effectively targeting Korean customers with content that feels right, feels trustworthy, and fits naturally into that Naver experience.
Yeah.
It really boils down to traffic quality and that inherent user trust.
So wrapping this all up, it really sounds like, yes, Google Ads is this massive global platform. But if you're serious about South Korea, you absolutely cannot ignore Naver and how different it is.
Absolutely not. Understanding these fundamental differences we've talked about, where Koreans spend their time online, how they behave, the unique ad options, the practical setup issues, the targeting nuances, and the cost versus conversion dynamics, it's all vital. It's what you need to build campaigns that actually connect with Korean consumers.
And it seems pretty clear that for any brand looking to really grow in South Korea, just skipping Naver because you know Google, well, that would be a pretty big mistake.
A significant oversight, for sure, which, it leads to a really interesting thought for you, the listener, to consider. Maybe the best strategy for South Korea isn't choosing one or the other. Could it be a hybrid approach?
Like using both.
Yeah, strategically blending Google's incredible global reach with Naver's deep local trust and its understanding of Korean user habits. Could that be the way to really maximize your return on investment in that unique market? Something definitely worth thinking about as you consider your own